fast forward to January and President Biden is sworn in. He's already laid out a number of things he'll do on day one, quote unquote, when he's in office. What are some of the highlights of that?
So I'm of the opinion that day one has already happened. That really in these circumstances with the pandemic and coming out of the recession, you had a referendum-style election on the president. Biden won. Everything he's doing now is really governing. Like, people are looking to him for directions, and so he stood up his task force on the coronavirus, and they have sort of met with him, and they've already said, well, it'd be a good idea if governors had mask mandates, and if he can get them to start doing some things on his behalf now, that's all to his advantage. And so I think that's actually starting to happen. He may, as I said earlier, he may stand up his economics team and say, they've advised me that we need to have a stimulus now, not wait till January. And so off you go. And we've seen prominent Democrat surrogates like Jason Furman make exactly that argument in the Wall Street Journal. So I view that as hardly coincidental, right? I mean, so we'll see how that all plays out. But I think he's beginning. I think there's a really interesting question about the first 100 days and what he sends to Congress for the first thing to pass. The tradition, I don't know if we have any traditions left at this point. They've been shredded pretty thoroughly. But the tradition is that the president gets one, right? You get some ask of Congress and it goes through, and it's usually the centerpiece of your campaign. And that in 2000, when Bush got elected, that was the tax cut that he'd campaigned on, and with Obama, it was the Affordable Care Act, and that was hard and took a long time, but he got that. You sort of get one of these things. Biden's got an enormously expansive set of proposals on his campaign website, but he's never made one the priority. If he has said this recently, it would be climate change. He wants to start there. How you do that in a bipartisan fashion is probably very different than what's on his website. So for me, the interesting question is sort of, how does he do the first thing? And is it, we want to get something through Congress. We know we need Republican buy-in. We're going to get something that's scaled appropriately. It's not going to be some big government thing that they're not going to be able to vote for. Or does he make a point, right? I won. Let's pass this out of the House and defy Republicans to stop it in the Senate. That will be a divisive, not a unifying moment. And he has said he wants to govern all and unify. And so I think he faces some real challenges on that front. I mean, sort of how he does that. So as a tiny piece of history, and this is now, I'm going to reveal my biases. So, it is a true fact that I was the McCain policy director, and that losing to Obama didn't uniformly thrill me. I'll just leave it at that. And then there's this sort of conventional wisdom that Republicans came into the next Congress dead set on having his presidency be a failure. And supposedly McConnell said, we're just here to defeat Barack Obama. That's not how it happened. What happened was the very first bill they chose to pass was the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which was a highly partisan piece of legislation that was designed to rub a Republican's nose. And then President Obama said so. He said, elections have consequences. We're going to do this. Then they took the CHIP bill, which was a traditionally bipartisan bill. They tore up the agreement they'd reached in the previous Congress on a bipartisan basis and passed it on a party line vote, a new CHIP bill, just to let Republicans know that things were different. And that's when the real hardening set in. They could have started another way. That's what I think the Biden team has to think about. How do you start? Because it does affect how it plays out.